Okay. So Alexa.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon. I hope it's really good for you. So, Danka, please move to the next slide. So, I believe most of you have read or watched movies about Harry Potter, and you are familiar with one character, he who must not be named. So it's Voldemort. And as for me, I think that in current situation, there are still some people who are afraid to call war as war. And so I'm asking you to not to call this war, the conflict in Ukraine or Ukrainian crisis or the special operation as its war. And the fact, unfortunately, it is the fact that it is not only Putin's war, because a recent poll showed that 83% of Russians supports Putin, and it's even more than on February, because these are results from March 2022. And 69% of Russians think that Russia moves in the right directions. And these are official data. And which is interesting that on the official website, you won't find the English version of these poll results, only the Russian one. And also, I'm not tired to emphasize that the war has started not on February 2022. It has started in 2014 with the Crimea annexation. Danka, please move to the next slide. Last week, President Joe Biden came to Poland, which is our west neighboring country, and he had a speech in the capital of Poland. And you can see the map, which is upper, it's maps of air alarms. So in these regions that are red, everybody had to hide in bomb shelters or to hide somewhere, because there was a danger of missiles or aircrafts can come and just bomb your city. And this is a recorded amount of missiles was launched. It was 70 missiles in Ukraine, and only 8 of them hit the target. The rest were destroyed in the air. So if you are still questioning why to support Ukrainian army, not the refugees, or to buy some medicine, this is the fact. If we won't have the strong army, they will just destroy us. So please support our army. I'm begging you. And this map was read while Joe Biden delivered his speech. And when he finished, after his speech, so you see the lower map. So the air alarms stopped and everything calmed down. And in Ukraine, we believe that that was the sign that from Russia, it's like they said something like, we can bomb you because the West cities, they, okay, only 10 minutes were between Ukraine and Joe Biden for Russian missiles, for you to understand. Danka, please move to the next slide. Today I have a tough mission, I have to say, about losses of Ukraine. We have official numbers, and they say that 148 children were killed in Ukraine, and 232 children were wounded. And this is only an official statistics. Yemi has mentioned Mariupol, and not official statistics, that only in Mariupol only more than 200 children were killed. So we don't have the exact numbers. And what about refugees? The number of almost 4 millions. It is only the number of refugees who had to leave who had to leave Ukraine, and more than 6 millions and 6.5 millions. It's internally displaced people like me, or like other my friends who had to leave their homes to save our lives. And I want to add something which is not on the slide. I just want to share some of my thoughts with you. It was about a week after the full-scale war has started when I remembered the words of one of very smart and very beautiful woman from Pakistan. She is also a sustainable leader of 2022. It's Kashaf Ali. I believe you remember her. And once she said, war always leaves scars on the women's bodies. And women always suffer during the war as they are being raped. And we have terrible stories. We hear terrible stories as the more people are evacuated from the occupied territories, the more terrible stories we hear. I was afraid of even thinking about it, and only now I am able to say it out loud about this fear, because I realize that today this is a reality for many Ukrainian women. It's still danger for them. Russian soldiers rape women. They rape young girls, 16, 17-year-old girls. And we already know about cases of gang rape. And I wish I never had to Google how to translate this phrase. And not all of these women survived. And those who did, they live in truly nightmare. These young girls even afraid of their parents. This is trauma for all life. I don't think how they can live through it. And meanwhile, Russian soldiers' wives ask them to bring shoes, costumes, some jewelry, laptops, and TVs from Ukraine. And I hope you understand that they're talking about robberies and about marauding. So, and you know, thanks to my education and thanks to the fact that I'm a researcher, I have reasons to be afraid of this war. And I think, it's my opinion, that Russian soldiers, they won't stop. As they want to capture Ukraine to rebuild the empire, the same as they did in Chechnya. Because as you know, there was first Chechen war and there was second Chechen war. 3 years after the first one, they attacked again. And now there is no independent state called Chechnya on the map. You won't find it. And Russian authorities, they always wanted to change history. They made many, I don't use all Russians, but many Russians believe that Ukraine was created artificially and that Ukrainian language was created artificially. And unfortunately, Russian propaganda does not end on Russian borders. And Oksana is going to tell more about Russian propaganda. So Oksana, please, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I will continue our presentation, and now, as you can assume, looking at the slide, we are moving to the very important topic, which is Russian propaganda. War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. Unfortunately, this is not a fiction anymore. This is the reality for those who consume Russian propaganda, and this is Russian word. Can we do something with that? Actually, yes. We have to be united for Ukraine and for all democratic world. But In order to do so, first of all, we have to know what are the main narratives used by Russian propaganda and how far are they from the real state of things, since as Zhanna Nemtsova, the daughter of Russian famous protesters, said once, Russian propaganda kills. It not only kills reason and common sense, it literally kills. So, according to Russian propaganda, one of the explanations of Russian invasion of Ukraine, including Donbass and Crimea, is discrimination of Russians and Russian-speaking Ukrainians. But is Russian-speaking minority really oppressed in Ukraine? Actually, that trigger for expansion of this narrative was the law of Ukraine adopted in 2019 on ensuring the functioning of the Ukrainian language as the state language, which states that the Ukrainian language should be used by public authorities and local governments as well as in other public spheres or public life. Does this law restrict the use of national minority languages? No. The law guarantees the right of national minorities to use the languages of the respective national minorities, as well as the right to study national minority languages in secondary educational institutions or through national cultural societies. Is there a criminal liability for not knowing Ukrainian language? Actually, no. The law doesn't provide for any amendments to the criminal code. Is it true that communication in Russian will be forbidden? No, it's not. The law doesn't apply to the sphere of private communication and the performance of religious rights. Does the law prohibit education in languages other than Ukrainians? Again, no. The law doesn't make any changes to the rule of education. According to the Ministry of Education and Science in Ukraine, in 2020 and 2021 academic year, general secondary education was provided in 9 languages of indigenous people and national minorities, including Russian. In 2020, there were 125 Russian schools in Ukraine. In addition, 43 private schools also provided education in Russian language. In comparison, in Russia, there is no school with Ukrainian as a language of instruction, in spite of the fact that, according to official data, almost 2 million of Ukrainians live in Russia. Finally, Kharkiv, Kherson, and Mariupol, which are now at the edge of humanitarian catastrophe, are Russian-speaking cities. The vast majority of the population there speak Russian in private life. Despite this fact, Russia refuses to provide green corridors for those people and keeps committing war crimes in these areas. Danka, please, next slide. So another hot topic that we would like to mention is whether the Russian invasion of Ukraine can be justified by the fact that Russia is afraid of NATO expansion. So Russia claims that having borders with a country which is a NATO member poses a danger to their country. But Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Turkey, which are Russian neighbor countries, are members of NATO. Still, Russia is fighting against Ukraine, which is not a member state and cannot protect itself as above-mentioned states. It is true that Ukraine strives for NATO integration. Ukrainian constitution provides the strategic course of Ukraine for membership in the European Union and NATO. But the Secretary General John Stoltenberg repeatedly claimed that membership in NATO for Ukraine is a matter of years or even decades, since in order to become a member state, Ukraine has to meet a number of different requirements. Finally, the war in Ukraine launched by Russia lasts for more than a month, and still NATO didn't intervene. Further, the organization specifically underlined that NATO forces would not participate in the war. Thus, there is no real threat to Russia. Thank you, and I'll give the floor to Danka.
Yeah, thank you, Alexa and Oksana. I will continue shortly. Of course, it's only like 2 Russia propaganda fake news. So here we collected some sources in English language. I guess some of them are in other languages too, like in Italian or in French. There is like more information about fakes which are popular in Russia, and you could click and check. I will send like a link. And another one, I guess, those who visited our first presentation already saw this. It's like Ukrainian media in Ukraine and English language. Some of them, for example, Ukrainian is also in 9 foreign languages. Here you could find more information like what is really happening in Ukraine now. Like just click and just show. And for another one, you also, I guess, saw this file, how you could help Ukraine beside donation, beside making like media campaign in your social media, going to rallies, emailing your politicians. You could also report Russia propaganda. Maybe some people in Russia do this. I hope, but you never mind where you live. We ask you, we call you, like report Russia propaganda. I will send you like link with those media, with those Telegram channels who share like fake news, who say that in Ukraine live neo-Nazis people, and I don't think that I'm neo-Nazism. Sorry, I don't think that I'm eating children or something like that.